All right, have and have not fans. This is probably the most requested new video that I do over the past 48 hours. And wow. Yeah. So first of all, thank you all so much for reaching out to me with this information. I believe I got this information sometime around Friday or Saturday of last week. But even till today, people are still messaging me. It's like, Jeremy, TV Guide uploaded new information about episodes 20 and 21. So first off, if you don't want spoilers, click off the video. But also, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon. I don't want anyone missing out on any new content that I post. So what we're going to do, we're going to go over the information about these two episodes. July 3rd is going to be called Smitten. And then on July 10th, Moles. So we're going to be breaking down each episode only has 1 sentence descriptions. I'm pretty sure that as the weeks go on, as we get closer to July 3rd and July 10th, we might get new information. But for now, it's not that much. Okay, let me just put it this way. The episode Smitten only has 1 sentence, so it really doesn't tell that much. But Moles, July 10th, that's the really interesting episode. Based off the synopsis, I think I'm just as excited for the episode Moles as I am for the episode coming out June 26th called Team of Rivals. I've already done a video about that. I believe the video title was Is David Going to Kill Veronica? But also, this might be a little bit long because I want to be plugging in so many thoughts behind this video. So be sure to sit back and relax. So let's talk about Smitten. This isn't going to be a long breakdown for this one. July 3rd, Smitten. Charles learns that Landon may have ulterior motives. Does this mean, okay, this can mean one of two things. Number one, this means that Charles learns that Landon is trying to sabotage Candace. That way she's not going to become First Lady. But then also, it could possibly mean that Charles learns that Landon is gay for him. That's pretty much the only two scenarios I could see that working out for. I mean, the only ulterior motives that we know that Landon has is he's trying to, seduce Charles. Which again, when you really think, and again, this isn't me being, homophobic or anything, but it's just like, in terms of the story, not the characters and who they are sexually, but the story, what do you feel is more ridiculous? Do you feel like it's more ridiculous for Charles as a potential presidential, well, I guess you could say potentially the next president of the United States, willing to take a street whore and dress her up for the role of First Lady, literally trying to manipulate the events in her life? I mean, for a lack of a better phrase, he's literally trying to play God when it comes to Candace. Like, I can wash you clean, like, wash all of your sins away, and you can become First Lady and live this glorious new life, not in the kingdom of heaven, but in the White House with me. I'm a Christian, so don't get me wrong, I ain't trying to be blasphemous or anything, but that's kind of what Charles is kind to be with Candace. Let me forgive all of your past sins of being a street hooker and whatnot, and you come live with me in the lap of luxury. That's literally what's happening here. And then you have Landon, who is gay, which isn't the problem. The thing is, he's going after a straight man. Not only that, he's going after a straight man who is almost the president of the United States. But most importantly, here's the part that rubs me the wrong way. You're going after a straight man that you're working for. So that's the big no-no when it comes to mixing business with pleasure. It's just like Jeffrey and Wyatt back in season 1. Jeffrey is pining over a straight man that he's working for, because remember, at that point, Jeffrey was Wyatt's rehab facility therapist, or counselor. You see what I'm saying here when it comes to this doesn't really make sense and it's really just bad writing? Like, you're going after it's really hard for me to tell which person is in the wrong the most. Is it Landon or is it Charles? Because I will say that Charles does seem worse because he's literally trying to make Candace's life a living hell. But when you really think about it, he's doing her favors by sabotaging her plans. because really all she's doing is she's up to no good. But when it comes to Landon, it's kind of like you want, and for a lack of a better phrase, you're almost trying to force yourself on Charles. Like, how many times have we seen those two in scenes together when they're having drinks and whatnot, and you're just waiting for Landon to try to drink Charles under a table and take advantage of him? I'm surprised we haven't seen that happen yet. I mean, the closest we've seen to physical contact is Landon trying to take off his shoes, and that's about it. Like, I guess the only sexual thing that can come from that in real world is like if he had a foot fetish or something, but I don't think that was the case. I do like how I will admit Landon did play it off pretty cool, because let's just assume he didn't try to take off Charles's shoes as a way to get on his good side. Like, oh, you had a long day, baby, let me take off your shoes or anything. Not like that. I feel like in terms of representing or showing Charles is like, look, if you're unwilling to let me take off your shoes, then you're really not going to be comfortable in the presidential hot seat when people are going to be waiting on you hand and foot. I did like the symbolism of that, but at the same time, it's like, okay, kind of creepy. But basically, that's like Maggie Day offering to take off Jim's shoes when she was working for him as on the governor campaign. But she wanted David to take off his clothes, so there's that. But really, Charles learning that Landon might have ulterior motives, I wonder how that's going to happen. I mean, remember that woman that's working alongside Landon on the Charles campaign? Does she drop the dime on Landon? Because to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens, because if it's for the betterment of the campaign, because she feels like if Landon is pining after Charles, then it's probably going to ruin the campaign, because the fact that he's an African American, and if he's caught in a compromising position with a man, that's probably going to ruin the entire campaign trail. So I don't know, maybe that's how he finds out, but we'll just have to wait and see. Remember that, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Landon call the cops about Candace and where she was in terms of the Quincy Maxwell murder? And then, I think he called it saying that Candace was at the hotel, and then Charles found out about it. So it wouldn't surprise me if Landon is working behind the scenes trying to sabotage Candace, and then Charles finds out about it, him being gay. So yeah, honestly, I talked about that episode more than I thought I would. So yeah, that's Smitten. But here we get to July 10th, Moles. Benny's arrest forces Candace to her old tricks to make some quick cash to leave town. Let's break it down. Benny's arrest. So it seems like Benny is going to be arrested for the murder of Vinnie Malone at the Iron Bar. That's the only Iron Bone Bar. That's probably the only reason he's going to get arrested. That's the only reason I can see him being arrested. You could also say that it is possible that he does get arrested for the Quincy Maxwell murder, but the only way we could have seen that happen is if Jeffrey signed the paperwork that Veronica was trying to make him sign. I don't think he's going to end up signing those papers, so I don't believe that's why he's getting arrested. He's probably getting arrested for the murder that took place at the bar, because in the episode tonight, Sugar Mama, we do know that there's going to be a scene where Hannah goes over to Catherine's house, and like I said, that's probably after Benny comes home, tells her what happened. She freaks out, tries to get legal help, and then Catherine tells Hannah, you might want to get help from Veronica, because sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And then Hannah's like, I don't want to know no devils, and leave. So I'm guessing that's why Benny is going to get arrested. But like I said before, if Benny is arrested for the Malone murder and they find out about it, because the Malones own the police, things ain't looking too good for Benny. So yeah, I do believe that's why Benny gets arrested. Then we get to the next one. Because Benny got arrested, Candace goes back to her old tricks to make some quick cash to leave town. Now you're probably wondering, just because Benny gets arrested, what does that have to do with Candace? Remember, Candace put all of her money into Benny's bank account. So the over $8 million deposit that she got from taking Wyatt's inheritance, that's gone. That's in Benny's bank account. So Candace has no way to get it. That's why she's back to her old tricks to make some quick cash in order to leave. The problem with that is she literally told RK, Rocky, and Gia that she left the game. So how are you going to get your way back into it? Because remember, in an upcoming episode, and I'm guessing it's going to be Smitten, we know that in this episode, Sugar Mama, RK is going to tell Candace that Rocky gave her up, meaning that RK told Candace that, okay, Rocky pretty much snitched on you, because remember, Candace told Rocky not to talk about the scheme, the one he's not getting paid for. So we do know in the last episode that Rocky talked with Oscar, and then Oscar talked with Jim, and that's why Jim is on her tail. So we do know that Candace probably want to beat him up with that iron pole, maybe in the episode Smitten, which is not going to be or the episode Team of Rivals. It could be that one too. So basically within the next 2 weeks, we know that Rocky's probably going to be beaten up. Then we know that RK is trying to seduce Veronica in order to get her money. And then Gia is trying to get Jim Cryer. So I even did a video talking about that pimp named Rico, who we haven't seen. And like that video, people were like, R. Kelly's you're telling me R. Kelly's the pimp? No, that was a picture of R. Kelly as Pimp Lucius from the Trapped in the Closet series. And I just thought it would be funny because we don't know who Rico is or what he looks like. So it'd be pretty funny as a thumbnail to put him up there. So it wouldn't surprise me that when Candace tries to go back to her old tricks, she's going to be out of luck, because she literally quit her job, if you will, and then beat up Rocky. So, you know, Rocky's going to have nothing to do with her. RK is going to be busy with Veronica, and Gia, who knows what she'll be up to. So it wouldn't surprise me if her old tricks is pretty much Candace, you know, bringing men up to her room, robbing them, and then trying to gather enough money to leave town. But remember, Landon is behind the scenes trying to sabotage her. So it wouldn't surprise me if Candace ends up getting arrested herself. I don't know for sure, just making a theory here. But also the fact that she wants to leave town is a bit ridiculous, because how many times has Candace had the opportunity to leave town once she got what she came after? Okay, the one time I do remember her being forced out of town was when she was abducted by the Malones, and Mama Rose like, here's a bus pass, you can get out of town so we won't kill you, but you're not going to stick around and ruin Jim Cryer's chances of becoming governor of Georgia. But Candace like, no, I'm a first class bitch. So she wasn't taking that. All right. Then we go all the way to when she got the 7.4 million from Jim back in season 3. Warlock was like, are you going to get out of town? Oh no, I'm going to stick around. I'm just going to live it up in his face. I'm just like, that's one of the dumbest things you could do. You could have just split town. I think she was talking about going to Atlanta, and then that would have been the end of that. And Atlanta is where Quincy Maxwell's mother is. So who knows? We'll see her again. And when you think about it, now we have Candace getting over $8 million. I'm surprised she hasn't tried to split town after that. Like, I don't know why she's... Oh, yeah. Maybe she's still in town because Erica's still in place to take David up for everything he's got. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's why she's still around. But the fact that you have almost $9 million, I mean, how much is... When is enough, Candace? Like, how much money do you need to quit this game for good? That's what I'm talking about. So when it comes to moles, just looking at the episode titles, Smitten is pretty much Charles probably finds out that Landon is in love with him. Then we have Moles, and if you don't remember that old show from ABC, Moles, who was it? Was it shoot, what is his name? Is it Anderson Cooper? I think he was the host of that show. I used to love that show. Pretty much it's like a group of people doing these activities each week, and the mole is somebody who is sabotaging them. And then at the end of each episode, they're taking a quiz about who they think the mole within the group is. And if you get a low score, you leave the show. And if you get a high score, you keep moving along. And then at the end of the game, they tell you who the mole is. So the mole is pretty much somebody that's not, it's like, what's that song? One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. If you find which thing is not like the other, by the time I finish this song, you know, I think that was Sesame Street. Basically, it's somebody who's in place to gather intel, whether to sabotage or to gather intel, which might mean this is an extension of Landon's plan to sabotage Candace. Do you think that Candace will be able to escape town? I don't think so. Why do you feel like she is forced to leave town? Do you think it's because she finds out that, you know, Jim and Oscar are on her tail about the money she took? I don't know, but Candace has got to be in some sort of desperate situation if she's trying to grab some quick money in order to leave town. So yeah, it looks like a lot of stuff is going down in the next couple episodes. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Smitten and moles. What do you think is going to happen? Of course, if you haven't done so already, look in the description of this video below to follow me on all my social media outlets. That way, if you find out any news about movies or TV shows related to Tyler Perry, you can reach out to me to let me know, and I can do videos on it. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.